So today, we are going to discuss the last topic that we have in this semester, the Research in Child and Adolescent Development by Maria Rita D. Lucas, PhD. But before we start, allow me to read our learning objectives. So first is at the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the basic principles of research, demonstrate appreciation of the role of teachers as consumers and producers of the developmental research. Then lastly, read researches on child and development and make simple research abstract out of researches. So at the end of this lesson, you may know how to make a simple research. Now, let's go to our activity. So read each statement below. Do you agree or disagree with each statement? So statement number 1, research is the only for those who plan to take master's degree or doctorate degree. So if you agree, write the comment below. Statement number 2, research is easy to do. Do you agree? Say yes, or disagree? No. Research is all about giving questionnaires and tallying the responses. So research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. So ana ni Albert Szent-Györgyi, he is a Hungarian biochemist. So research is not just looking for what? Looking for the things that everyone already knows, but thinking differently. Finding new ideas, new solutions, new meanings na wala pang ma-discover sa uban. In short, when you do research, you may studying the same topic as others. Then, what makes your research valuable is to see the different angle and mo look deeper ka sa imong research. Teachers as consumers or end users of research. Research gives teachers and also policymakers important knowledge to use in decision making for the benefit of learners and their families. So the role of teachers as consumers or end of users of research, meaning that the teachers use research findings to guide their teaching and their decision making. Research provides important knowledge and evidence that makaguide sa mga teacher for their decision making and what to teach and how to teach. When teachers understand the research and apply the research, they will become effective. She or he will become effective teachers. Why? Because the research is the proven methods nga makapa-improve sa student learning. Well-informed teachers are able to see and integrate the most authoritative research findings. So what is the most authoritative research findings? If a good teacher is knowledgeable and must stay updated siya sa latest na mga research, then i-apply niya ug unsa iyang na-learn sa iyang teaching method and to makahelp na niya to fit the student's needs. Iyahang i-adjust ang iyahang teaching strategy. Research enable teachers to come up with informed decision on what they teach and how they teach. This involves decision related to the educational policies, curriculum, effective teaching learning processes, and even those evolving research too. It can help us teachers to be more knowledgeable about how to fit our teaching with the developmental levels of our learners. So, akong giingon ganina is that the teacher is makatabang ang research sa ilaha to adjust their teaching strategy to fit the students' needs. Teachers as researchers. The conduct of research does not only belong to thesis and dissertations writers. It is the study for the students and teachers too. Let us learn how to conduct research by finding out the different research principles and research methods and designs with focus on child and adolescent development. Meaning, by learning about the research principles, methods, and designs, teachers can find way to improve their teaching and help students learn more effectively based on their age and development. In short, the teachers do research to make learning better to their students. So, let's proceed to the scientific method. One of the important principles in research is adherence to scientific method, since research is a systematic and logical process. So what is the systematic? Systematic is organized way of the step-by-step, and the logical process is the clear reasoning and evidence. As such, researchers basically follow the scientific method. They will give us 5 steps of scientific method. There are as follows. So number one is identify and define the problem. So if I am the advisor, like for example, if I am the advisor of grade 7 NARA students, then I observe that hina sila sa reading comprehension and mas more ga-focus sila sa social media. So what should I do? So identify. I define the problem is the effect of social media usage to the reading comprehension of grade 7 NARA students. Then number 2. So determine the hypothesis. So by the way, what is hypothesis? So hypothesis is the temporary answer or the educated guess. Then we need to determine the hypothesis. Number 3, we need to collect and analyze data. So, una to, kung pila kabok ato ang respondents. So, what if we have the 30 students? So, mao na ang atong mga respondents. We need to analyze the data. Then, ang results, muna ang atong formulate the conclusions. Next, number 5 is apply conclusions to your original hypothesis. So, atong i-connect ang atong original hypothesis sa atong conclusions. Research design. Now, let's know what is our different research design. Researches that are done with a high level of quality and integrity provides us with valuable information about the child and adolescent development. To be able to conduct quality of research, it is important nga kabalo ka unsa ang research design and different data gathering techniques used by developmental research. To make your research quality, you may know what is the research design and different data gathering. First, research design is the case study. So what is the case study? So an in-depth look at an individual. So a case study is a detailed study of that specific subject. Like for example, the person, the event, the organization, or the phenomenon. Unsa man ang strength sa case study. So the advantage of the case study if it provides information about individuals' fears, hope, fantasies, traumatic experiences, upbringing, family relationship, and health, and anything that helps a psychologist understand that person's development. So, ana ning Santrac 2002. So, like for example of the case study, so the health. So, the value of the health systems during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, unsa man ang value sa health sa systems of the COVID-19 pandemic. So, mo na nga kuan nilang mga information kung unsay nahitabo atong the COVID-19, unsay nahitabo sa health sa mga tawo. The weaknesses of case study or the disadvantage. So, need to exercise caution when generalizing from the information and the subject of the case study is unique with a genetic makeup and experiences no one else shares. If we focus on the one person, we need to be careful. Not all the results are true for everyone because we have different perspectives, we have different experiences. Then, it involves judgment of unknown reliability where the credibility and accuracy can't be determined because of the lack of information and its source. So it is usually no check is made to see if other psychologists agree with other observations. Next is number 2, the correlational study. So what is correlational study? So a research design that determines associations and that is the type of research study that examines relationship between the two or more variables. It is how they are connected or related to each other. So the correlational study, it not proves the cause and effect. So dili ni siya cause and effect. So ang atong buhaton dili is the relationship, how they are connected and related. So I have the example. So if the correlational study is the students who drink more coffee is get high grades, it doesn't mean that coffee causes high grades, better grades. It could be that he is hardworking or she is hardworking. He both drink coffee and study more to get the high grades. So in short, the correlational study is show the relationship, not causes. The advantage of the case, a correlational study rather. So the correlational study strength is the useful because the more strongly two events are correlated, if connected ang duha, the more we can predict one from the other. So, the weaknesses of the correlational study. So, the weaknesses is that does not involve the manipulation of factors. It is not a dependable way to isolate the cause and effect. The correlational study weaknesses is that wala siya nagkuan og cause and effect. They are connected and correlated to each other. Example. So our example is extracurricular engagement in sports and its correlation with the academic grades of among high school students. So unsa ang relationship sa sports, sa extracurricular engagement in sports and to the academic grades of high school students. So for its example, we must find the relationship and how they are related to each other. So number 3. The number 3 research design is the experimental. A research design that determines cause and effect relationship. The experimental method involves manipulating one variable to determine if the changes in one variable cause changes in other variable. Experimental study is a type of research where the activity changes or manipulates one variable to see how they affect another variable. So if we compare the correlational and the experimental, correlational is the relationship and the experimental is the cause and effect. In simple words, it studies the test of cause and effect. It tries to find out if one thing causes to another. So, the experimental is this method relies on controlled methods. What is the controlled methods? Researcher keeps everything the same except one thing. The next is the random assignment. Means people are put into groups by chance to test if it is fair, and manipulation of variables to test a hypothesis. So the researcher changes to one thing to see what happens. So, unsa man ang iyang advantage or the strength of this experimental? The only true, reliable method of establishing cause and effect. If we moadto ta sa case study, this is the dili na to ma-apply ang cause and effect sa case study. So sa correlational naman is dili po na to ma-apply ang cause and effect. If we the experimental, so dili na siya only true, reliable method. Then the weaknesses. So what is the weaknesses of the experimental study? The weaknesses of experimental study. So experimental or the disadvantage, experimental research is limited to what is observable, testable, and manipulable. So failure to achieve randomization may limit to extent which study sample is representative of the parent population and with it generalizability of the findings of the study. So experimental is the limited control. Ang nag-ana siya diri may limited to extent to which the study sample. So limited control. You can't experiment everything. Kung makakos naman nimog harm, so you can't experiment everything. Next is bias. Why bias? Because the researcher expectations can accidentally affect the results. Next is the sampling problem. Why? The sampling problem is it's hard to get the diverse group of people for experiments, so results might not apply to everyone. Then costly and timely assuming because it takes a lot of time and money. So the example of experimental. So example is the effect of social media usage to the reading comprehension of the grade 7 students. So we need to establish the cause and the effect of this problem. So the social media usage and the effect niya is the reading comprehension. So that's all. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, clarifications, you may comment down below. Thank you.
So now I am the next reporting. I am Chesanel M. Nupias. So the naturalistic observations is a research design that focus on children's experience and natural settings, and it does not involve any intention or manipulation. Example, watching a kids or observe play in a park. To see malantag yun nimo to see them on how they interact. So the strength or the advantage of this type of research is that allows the researcher directly observe in natural settings. So when you see natural settings, the natural settings is a place where in a home, school, or in a park. So, the weaknesses or the disadvantage of the naturalistic observations include the fact that it can be difficult to determine the exact cause of behavior and the experiment. So next, the longitudinal. Longitudinal. Longitudinal description studies and follow a single group over a period of time, usually several years or decade. Example, studying the same kids every year to see how they change as they grow. The strength or advantage allow the researcher to record and monitor developmental trends. The weaknesses, it's expensive and time-consuming. Cross-sectional. The descriptions is to compare individuals of different age at one time. Example, studying the group of 5 to 10 years old and 15 years old and compare their development. The advantage is allowed to record of developmental trends, and the disadvantage is to give no information about how individuals change over. Sequential, it combines the cross-sectional and longitudinal. Example, studying different age, the group over several years. So the strength or advantage is to provide information not possible from either design alone. So the disadvantage, it's complex, expensive, and time-consuming. Action research description. Progressive problem-solving led by individuals or teams to improve practices. Example, a teacher tries a new teaching method and check if its students learn better. Advantages, it's to create changes and gain information on strategies and outcomes. The disadvantage is usually limited to one organization and results are hard. There are 3 data gathering techniques. The first is observation, second sociological measures, and the third is the standard.
Next is the number 4. The data gathering technique number 4 is the interviews and questionnaires. So this is the description, the definition, involve asking the participants to provide information about themselves based on the interview or questionnaires given by the researcher. So gathering of the data may be conducted through a printed questionnaire, over the telephone, by the mail, in person, or online. So information is obtained by utilizing standardized procedures so that every participant is asked the same questions in the same manner. It entails asking participants for information in some structured format. So like for example, so a researcher talks So sa interview, a researcher talks to the students one by one to ask how they feel about the online class. So each student is asked the same set of questions. So muna itong example sa interview. Sa questionnaires naman is a survey form is given of 50 people asking about their daily screen time and sleeping habits. So, na sila yung mga questionnaires nga gihatag. So, kalabanan sa questionnaires is 10 items na siya. So, everyone answers the same questions on the form. Number 5, data gathering technique is the life history record. So, what is this? These are the records of information about lifetime chronology of events and activities. So, pasunod ni siya. Order nga mga life history records sa usa ka tawo. Then, often involve a combination of data records on education, work, family, and residence. So, these include public records or historical documents or interviews with the respondents. So, like for example, is kanang Jose Rizal. So, naaman siya life history ni Jose Rizal. So, pwede dyan nato nga makuhaan o makuhaan na to information.
Ethical principles. Some key points are research produces must never harm children physically or psychologically. Children and their families have the right to full information about the research in which they may participate, including possible risks and benefits. Their decision to participate must be based on what is called informed consent. There must be informed consent procedures with research participants. Children's questions about the research should be answered in a truthful manner and in ways that children can understand. Researchers must be honest and clear in their communication. There should be respect for privacy. Information obtained through research with children should remain confidential. Researchers should not disclose personal information or the identity of participants in written or oral reports in discussion. To uphold and promote ethical principles that guided behavior with integrity, fairness, respect, and responsibility, ensuring that decisions and actions contribute positively to individuals, organizations, and society. The law was passed in the Philippines in 2012 to protect the fundamental human rights of privacy and communication while ensuring free flow of information to promote innovation and growth. In the law states that the collection of personal data must be a declared, specified and legitimate purpose and that consent is required prior to the collective of all personal data. For more details, read RA 10173. Impact of teachers' research involvement on teachers. Research itself has proven that teachers that have everything to gain and nothing to lose when they are get involved in the research process. Evidence suggested that teachers who have been involved in research may become more reflective, more critical and analytical in their teaching, and more open and committed to professional development. Participating in teacher research also helps teachers become more deliberate in decision making and actions in the classroom. Teachers research develop that professional disposition of lifelong learning, reflective and mindful teaching, and self-transformation. Mills 2000, Stringer 2007. Engaging in teacher research at any level may lead to rethinking and reconstructing what it means to be teacher or teacher educator, and consequently the teacher relate to children and students.